Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. At this time, I'd like to invite you to kindly stand for the playing of the national anthem. Please be seated. The most beautiful anthem in the... I said what I said. Senator, the Honorable Aubin Hill, Minister of Industry, Investment and Commerce, in other words, our Minister of Business, Mrs. Sancia Bennett Templar, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce, the Honorable Danville Walker, Chairman of the Trade Board Limited and other members of the board, Trade Administrator, CEO of the Trade Board Limited, Dr. Major Retired Hugh Blake, CEO, Jamaica Special Economic Zone, where we affectionately call it JASESA, Kelly Ann Hamilton, Mr. Harold Davis, CEO, Acting, Jamaica Business Development Corporation, JBDC, Group Export Manager with Cinco, Mr. Stephen Dawkins, other heads of agencies, companies, organizations, stakeholders, specially invited guests, friends of the media all, good morning and welcome to the launch of EXPORTAcademy. I know that our room is small in comparison to the bigger rooms we're accustomed to, but I think we can do a much better job, and I'm going to tell you why. When it comes to football, track and field, netball, cricket, we make a bag of noise, don't it? When it comes to dance, music, culture, when we see our colors on any stage, whether it is local, regional, or global, we make a bag of noise, don't it? And when it comes to seeing our greats in academics doing so well and carrying our nation far in every corner of the globe, we say, are we that? You know what I also think is sexy? National development. I also think skills development is important. I think policy is important. I think infrastructure is sexy. And I think that if we can be very excited about the things I mentioned earlier, we should be even more excited about the things that say Jamaica is doing amazing things nationally. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, good morning and welcome to the launch of the EXPORTAcademy. In the words of my late grandma, then if you know you can do better, why you don't just do better? I am, for those of you who do not know me, I am Terry Carell. I am pleased to serve you in the capacity of host. I'm so happy to welcome you all in this room, and for those of you joining us on JIS's live stream. I noticed that this is about national development. I saw our national colors being the colors of choice, and so I come to you with the yellow, or the gold, excuse me, the sunshine in my heart. I come to you with the green in my dress, and the black is the color of my skin. Thank you so very much for being here, for all the stakeholders. We cannot imagine, and I'm sure even though I mentioned that the green is for, the national colors, I'm sure the minister is loving the green for a completely unrelated, reason. But thank you so very much. I can't imagine all the work, collaboration, partnership that has gone into creating something like this. And before we have our official welcome, the question is why? If we look back at our history, not just our history, but just the history of civilization, across the world, economies were built on trade. It's when they figured out and they found out that you have to identify a market, you have to create a product or a service, you needed access to the markets, and you had to be trade and market ready. That's how economies are built, that's how they grow, and that's how they are preserved. And therefore, it is so exciting to find out about the Export Academy and how all of us can essentially become exporters. And so, to bring the welcome address and to give you key insights into the Trade Board Limited's role in driving this export facilitation, I welcome Dr. Major Retired Hugh Blake, Trade Administrator and CEO of the Trade Board Limited.
Thank you, Terry. Terry did such a wonderful job of identifying all the distinguished guests that we have here this morning. So I won't, in the interest of time, and I know the minister is very pressed for time, he has another engagement, I will forego all the usual formalities and just sort of get into my presentation. But I have to recognize the presence of our minister, the Honorable Senator Auburn Hill, Minister of Industry, Investment and Commerce, Mrs. Sansia Bennett Templar, our Permanent Secretary. We have also very fortunate this morning to have Ambassador Alcock in our presence. My chairman, Mr. Danville Walker, Honorable Danville Walker. A lot of people don't remember that he's honorably. Honorable Danville Walker, and our Deputy Chair, Dana Ashpole, and other members of the board who are here. There are lots of distinguished ladies and gentlemen sitting here today. And, so I would just like to observe the protocols as far as everybody else is concerned. I see also my friend over there nodding. Right? I see you, Mr. Garnett Reed, the president of the Small Business Association. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me just emphasize again the deep sense of gratitude that we feel that you're here with us this morning. Welcome. I know you all have a choice. You didn't have to be here, but you chose to be. And the fact of the matter is that we're here to launch something that I believe is of benefit to Jamaica, not just the ministry and the trade board. It's not for us, it's really for Jamaica. Okay, so I better get on to my script, right? So, good morning and welcome to the launch of Export Academy. It is my distinct privilege to stand before you as a CEO of the Trade Board Limited, where this initiative was conceptualized, developed, and brought to life. As you know, the Trade Board is an agency, a proud agency of the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce, dubbed the Business Ministry. Today marks a significant milestone in our ongoing effort to support and empower Jamaican exporters. The Export Academy is a groundbreaking digital learning platform, meticulously developed to provide new and experienced exporters with essential knowledge and learning resources to successfully export their products overseas. The platform is not just a tool, it is an opportunity to garner the knowledge necessary to extend our global reach and enhance our collective success in international trade. What sets the Export Academy apart is its ability to offer customized training tailored to each user's specific need. As you know, business people, adults, we don't want to learn a lot of stuff that is not of immediate relevance to us. We want immediacy of application. This is what the Trade Board this is what the Export Academy gives you. Immediacy of applications. It cuts right to your specific needs. By leveraging advanced rules and algorithms, the platform assesses the user, identifies the relevant gaps, and provides a personalized learning path and assessments to close those gaps. This innovative approach ensures that every exporters receive the precise information and guidance they need to succeed. Please note that this is a start. What we are launching today will evolve with technology and the context in which we do business, international trade. International trade is something that's not static. It's constantly changing. So what we have here is something that is flexible enough to evolve with changing context. I'd like to take this moment to recognize and commend the incredible ingenuity and dedication of our information systems team at the Trade Board. Mr. Carl Morgan is the director of the Information Systems Department, and Mr. Jason Mills, manager systems. Yes. He's the manager of systems engineers and programming, and one of our geniuses, not the only one. Their tireless efforts and unwavering commitment have brought this project to life. I'd like to make a special mention of Mr. Joel Henry, a brilliant young graduate from the University of the West Indies, I could have asked Joel to stand. Whose astonishing brilliance significantly contributed to the development of this platform. And Minister, we need to capture him for the ministry. Yes? No, we need his talent. And I'll tell him already. While I can take credit for the conceptualization of the Academy, it is through their hard work and ingenuity that we can afford this, that we can stand here today to launch this cutting-edge platform. It is important to highlight that the Export Academy works in tandem with Export Jamaica, another of our initiatives that provides global market intelligence and compliance information. Together, the Export Academy and Export Jamaica offers powerful assistance to exporters, with one initiative helping to find suitable markets and business counterparts around the world, and the other teaching you how to export, taking you through the processes. And I think that combination is a powerful combination. As we unveil the Export Academy today, I am filled with immense pride and anticipation for the positive impact it will have in our exporting community. The platform is accessible free of cost to all registrants, making it an inclusive, invaluable resource for anyone looking to expand their horizon and succeed in international trade. In closing, I extend my heartfelt gratitude to everyone who has contributed to this remarkable achievement. I also want to express my sincere appreciation to our Honorable Minister, who, upon assuming the leadership of this ministry charge all of his heads of agencies to think outside the box and do everything we can to support the growth of export. This directive unleashed our creativity and imagination, spawning numerous initiatives around the ministry, within the ministry, one of which we will witness in this launch today. I also have to make special mention of the tremendous support we received from our board, the chairman, who has been with us every step of the way, and in a very huge way to our deputy chair, Dana Hashbull, who has really, she is our sounding box. We are very fortunate to have her as deputy chair. We can bounce things off of her. She is one of those very brilliant minds. Thank you so much. Let us embrace the Academy and the opportunity it gives to learn, grow, and elevate Jamaica's exports to new heights. Together, we can achieve extraordinary success on the global stage. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much and welcome again.
Thank you. Thank you so very much, Dr. Blake. You know what I didn't hear you applaud for? The fact that it is free. So let's talk about it for a second. We heard Dr. Blake talk about how, it was a meticulous process, right? They had these brilliant minds. So we saw the talent. It is customized. It is personalized. It's all of these things. These things usually come at a cost. And whenever there's a cost, it is always prohibitive for those persons who simply cannot afford it, which means that we have skill gaps, we have knowledge gaps, we have a whole heap of gaps normally because there is a monetary value to trying to get ahead. So the fact that it is inclusive, and he said invaluable, I want us to also think about Jamaicans who have disabilities. We're not just talking about those people who don't have money, but those who have a lot of this, but because of their disabilities, they don't get access. And so I'm imagining all of these people who now have access because it's free and because otherwise in society they would not have been given jobs. They can now learn and become exporters. And I don't want us to lose sight of how important it is for this platform to be as inclusive as it is. Another round of applause for that. So we heard the good doc speak about the commitment, the ingenuity, the integrity, the dedication, the curation, and all of these things. But how about us find out more about the achievements of the Trade Board Limited? Let's take a look.
Jamaica is a land of potential. Jamaica is a land of potential, rich in talent, innovation, and world-class products. To succeed globally, businesses need the right tools and knowledge. That's where the Trade Board Limited's new digital e-learning platform, EXPORTAcademy, comes in.
Damian, what exactly is EXPORTAcademy?
EXPORTAcademy is an online platform created to help Jamaican businesses grow by teaching them how to succeed in global markets. EXPORTAcademy offers customized assessments that help to identify knowledge gaps in different areas of exporting. After each assessment, the platform automatically provides you with helpful resources like notes, videos, documents, presentations, and links to fill in those gaps. Plus, there's the export library, packed with the videos, documents, and other materials to give you all the knowledge you need to start exporting. This makes the exporting process much easier to understand. EXPORTAcademy Also links to the Export Jamaica Gateway, which provides global insights, compliance information, and tools to help Jamaican businesses expand internationally. Get ready to sign up and start learning at your own pace. The world is waiting for Jamaican products, and Export Academy will give you the customized learning and tools you need to succeed.
Fantastic. Fantastic overview. Great presentation. Is Damian in the room? Is Damian in the room? I just wanted to see if the animation actually looked just like Damian. You know what I mean? I just had to ask. This was one of the names that was mentioned in terms of one of the key persons who was on the team. And so to give us more of an insight, Mr. Jason Mills, Manager, Systems Engineering and Programming, the Trade Board Limited, will now do its presentation.
Good morning. All protocols observed. All right. What we're going to be doing this morning is to take a look at the Export Academy platform to highlight some of the main features and functionalities and to see how it will benefit the export community. So let's take a look at this image. This image represents how the average person perceives the export process. Some of the things that come to mind would be a complicated process, not very clear, don't know where to begin, and all of which would leave a potential exporter confused. So currently, the perception is that the export process in Jamaica is complicated, and most businesses don't believe they have the know-how or expertise to export. So one of the main aims of the Export Academy platform is to provide information to allow for a better understanding of the export process. This will be done by bridging the knowledge gap through an online platform that provides customized assessments and content to the exporting community. The end result will leave the exporter with a clear picture of the export process with the knowledge gained from the Export Academy. And at the end, where the image that the exporter or potential exporter will see will become much clearer. So what is the Export Academy? The Jamaica Export Academy is a free digital learning platform that provides customized information, resources that will give new and experienced manufacturers, producers, and service providers the knowledge and confidence to start exporting to customers around the world. It will be done in the form of customized assessments, instruments, to assess the knowledge gap of the user in several areas. At the core of these assessments are built-in content and training material in the form of notes, videos, documents, and presentations, as well as links to additional resources. All will be generated by the platform automatically with the use of built-in rules and algorithms after each assessment to fill the knowledge gap is identified. The Export Academy will provide information and resources to support the increase in the user confidence, increase in the volume and type of export, growth in the number of exporters, and improve the ease of penetration into new markets. Our main target audience for the Export Academy will be small and medium-sized enterprise, large corporations, as well as students and the average Jamaican who are interested in the export sector. How does the system work? So what you're seeing here is a process flow diagram that basically gives you an overview of the main functionalities of the system. The first thing the user would be required to do is register on the Export Academy to utilize the system. Once the registration process has been completed, the user would then be able to log into the system and access two main areas. The first would be the resource library, which would contain videos, presentations, seminars, documents, information, and links to additional resources. Or two, they can go to the assessment instrument, which would be broken down into several categories. This I will go through a little later on in the presentation. Once the assessment of the questionnaire is completed, the system will then decide or check if there are gaps that exist within the submission. If knowledge gaps are identified, then the system would then generate a report which would include content to fill those knowledge gaps, and that content would be in the form of written information as well as additional resources and recommended resources. The TBL will also be notified of the user status and the gaps that are in place, and at that stage, the TBL can decide if a one-on-one assessment is required. At this stage, once the knowledge gap has been filled, the user can then redo the assessment to basically pass that assessment. So once that is redone, at that stage, and no gap would exist, and a minimum score is met, the system would then generate a score for the user, as well as generate a report showing the progress of the user. The score will also be sent to the TBL for a possible one-on-one, and the user may then progress to the next available assessment. And as mentioned before, there's our resources library is also available that the user can access the videos, presentations, and seminars, and whatever information will be loaded in that section. So what does the Export Academy looks like? On the screen, you can see a screenshot of the homepage, which would include the different categories and the assessments that are loaded onto the system. There's also a drop-down menu that is available, which would contain information on the various different categories. Once you click on any one of those, you would be given the option to begin. So as mentioned before, there are several categories in which the assessments are broken down into. The first category would be exporter knowledge, which is a general section that covers all the areas of export and can be considered as an introductory assessment for the Export Academy. The second section is the export markets and market intelligence. And this section covers market intelligence and compliance information as well as market access. There is the third, the regulation and compliance section, and this section covers export trade compliance, including an introduction to the laws and regulations that are in place to export from Jamaica. There's also a financial aspect of exporting, and this allows users to gain a better understanding of the financial aspects of exporting and learn some of the financial assistance that are available to exporters within Jamaica. Additional categories would include the risk management and benefits, which would be the fifth category, which allows users to be introduced to some of the risks that are associated with exporting, and also find out ways of mitigating those risks. There's also the logistics and shipping section, trade agreements, and the sustainability of ethical practices. And in the future, we're looking to build out these categories in even further. The screenshot on the screen shows an overview of the different assessments that are loaded. And just to recap, basically in 5 steps, the main functionalities of the Export Academy. So the first step would be basically to register on the Export Academy, which the user can either register as an exporter or a student. Basic information will be captured, including the name of the registrant, the email address, create a password just to create the account. In the case that they are a registered company, you can enter that information as well by selecting toggle that registered company button. If you register as a student, the only additional information that is captured is the name of the institution and the program in which you are a part of. Step 2 would be accessing the customized assessment instrument. So by clicking on the customized assessment, you would begin with the general export information, which is the introductory assessment, you would be taken to the page that you can continue and start filling the questions. As shown on the screen, this is a sample question that is asked. In this case, it would be a yes or no, and you would select the answer and click on next. To the left of your screen, you will also see the various different questions, and above the question, you will see the progress bar, so you can actually see how far along the way are you, so you can know how long before you finish the assessment. The screen also shows an additional question, and as you progress, you will see that at the end of 100% of the progress bar, you're at the end of the assessment. Once you submit, you will be given a review section that you can update the information that was already submitted, or you can progress by clicking on next, which will then generate a gap analysis report and a customized content section. As shown here, this would be the report that was generated, which would include the score. And if you have met the minimum score set for that assessment, you'll be given two options, either to redo the assessment to improve your score, or you can click next to move along to the other assessment that is linked. Just note, if you fall below the required score, you would be required to redo the assessment before you can continue. And as shown here, let's just examine this question. Which industry does your organization belong to? The user will be required to select the industry, and then based on the selection that is chosen, the content that is preloaded will be shown. So as shown here, a little bit customized information related to the industry, and there's also links back to the Export Jamaica modules directly from the Export Academy. So by clicking this, you can actually see what it requires to export into the various countries around the world. And over 188 countries would be covered in this module. There's also links back to the Jamaica Trade Information Portal, and below there where you see the image, not very readable here, but which is a customized assessment, which is a customized exporter map that is available. By clicking the image to enlarge, which is much more readable now, you would be able to see the recommended agencies that would be in line with your industry, as well as what these entities would be providing for your entity. In the case of agriculture, it's a broad area, that's why you're seeing so much entities, but some of these licenses are particular to your particular product. For example, Jacra, in the case that you're exporting coconut, coffee, cocoa, turmeric, you would be interested in that particular entity. So it's an overall map. And just note, based on the different industry, each industry has a map loaded, so it can be guided as the industries that the agencies that you need to be in touch with. And just a note, on the screen, you also see additional questions that are loaded and the content that is provided to fill that knowledge gap that were identified. What I should also point to, at the bottom of the screen, there is also recommended resources, and these resources can be in the form of videos, presentation, documents, or forms that would be linked to your responses. As shown here, the videos that are available. And just to note, we link back to other entities because we have been in contact with all the MDAs involved in the export process and provide content that they are available. And we have also been in contact with the private sector entities based on what they found as interesting. And the final step 5, would be the resource library. And in the resource library, there are various different documents and information that are loaded. Presentations, forms, documents, link to training courses, notices. There's also videos in the form of training, presentations, seminars, webinars, and there's also an exporter plan template. And just to note, various different formats are supported, include PDF, Word documents, PowerPoint documents. Whatever the form is, we'll be able to load it in the application. And this is a screenshot of the resource section, which is preloaded with the different information, which would include the forms, videos, presentations, and the categories to the left-hand side, you can actually click on to narrow down your search. And you can also use the search and filter section to narrow down for exactly what you're looking for. And this is just a sample video that Exim Bank, for example, thought would be interesting insuring your small business, and we provide that link back to the Exim Bank that is loaded here and played within the application. An overview that basically covers my presentation. Thank you very much.
Congratulations, Jason. He just went over a very complex thing and then he just said, thank you. Job well done, first of all. Yeah, absolutely. Let us not pretend that what he just explained is something that happened overnight. Can we just appreciate the depth of work and research and making sure that no stone was left unturned? Congratulations, Trade Board. Congratulations to the brilliant. Talent has never been the issue. Talent has never been the issue. It's always been access to opportunities. And let it not be said that there are no opportunities to learn and to grow in the export industry. And if anybody dares to say that, just look on them and say, the devil is a liar. My score would be 100% because I'm that girl, okay? If I don't get 100%, best believe I'm going to go back and redo what we just saw. What is also very important to note is that the Trade Board Limited also thought about data protection. Very sensitive about Data Protection Act. You would have even realized, those of you in the room, when you came in on the registration desk, there was a QR code that spoke to privacy notice to let you know we're filming, we're taking photos, because we actually acknowledge the Data Protection Act. So even as persons are going to be plugging in their information, we want to make it very clear that it is a part of the framework to protect your data. And I thought that was very important to actually mention. Just job well done. And lastly, just before I head over to another video, the kiosks, those little screens that you see on the sides of the room, for those of us who are actually interested in signing up right now, literally, all you need to do is go over there and you can plug in your TRN. If it's your personal TRN or if it's your business, you can become a student right now if you would like. So moving on, we heard about how impressive and comprehensive the Export Academy platform is and all the things that were taken into consideration. Quite a milestone for the Trade Board Limited, but it's not the only one. Let's take a look. That's a lot of things. And I think we can sign up for Export Jamaica as well as Export. Listen, if you see me in about 3 or 4 months, you can't chat to me. In fact, I'm just going to tell people I'm an exporter. You didn't know? Absolutely. I export my services. Hello? Now, if you look or if you're following or consulting your program, I'm just going to let you know we're stepping away, we're breaking away from protocol just to facilitate and cater to a minister who works overtime. All of us have 24 hours in our day, and I can assure you this gentleman has 50. And he tries his best to be as involved and as present in everything that the ministry is involved with. He is our gracious host. Ladies and gentlemen, one of the hardest working ministers with one of the hardest portfolios that he continues to improve. Kindly put your hands together for our keynote speaker this morning, our minister, Senator, the Honorable Aubin Hill.
You know, as I was sitting there and Dr. Blake spoke about when I came to the ministry, I don't know, 3 years now, PS. And everywhere I go, I try to make sure we improve what we do, because I'm of the view that in 1935 or so, Mercedes-Benz had the best car in the world. You looked at it, it was beautiful. Spokes wheel, white wall, tires, cabriolet, for those who don't bother with the French, like Ambassador, who speaks French. Cabriolet is the thing, the top is open, so if you have hair like mine, it can flow. And Mercedes had the best car then. If the engineers had become satisfied, you would never have Lewis Hamilton winning 7, I think it's 7, might be 8, no, but I'm sure of 7 Formula One championships in a Mercedes-Benz. It has to be engineered like no other car in the world. The only way you get that way is that if every single month, every week, every quarter, you're looking at improving that machine. That's what we have to do with Jamaica. And I say that because when I came to the ministry, honestly, Dr. Blake, you have to agree with me, the kind of stuff that you guys used to show up here, no, wasn't up to scratch. Now look at this. Look at these, ladies and gentlemen. Look at them, how sharp they are. Export Jamaica, he recreated his own, a brand new logo that really looks sharp. And the Export Academy is done. You have the video stuff shown. And of course, the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce over there enabling export and business and money and so on. But the Trade Board has lifted its standard like so many of the other agencies, and others are in the business of doing the lifting. So before I go, I have to recognize I don't have the privilege of saying all protocol observed. Because, frankly, I want to call people's name who support and work and make activities like these happen and happen well. So, Ms. Terry Johnson, our Master of Ceremonies, always, she does such a great job. And yes, she is an exporter. Give her a round of applause. Not only is she a great compere and an MC, but she absolutely knows how to dress well. Look at her dress. Look at her dress, ladies and gentlemen. So we're very happy as ever, Terry Carell, to be working with you. Mrs. Sansia Bennett Templer, who is still celebrating Valentine's Day, along with her CTD right beside her, Mrs. Latoya Franklin, and Ambassador Alicock, who has joined us recently. Happy to have them. We have, I know Chairman Danville was here, probably in the back there on the phone. Danville Walker, who is the chairman of the Trade Board. I see Director Ashpole here, Dana Ashpole, and I know Dana is a very, she has her own business now, but she comes from a very strong background in trade. And so I'm sure she was very helpful as Jason and Carl and Bright New Joel were doing all this technical stuff with the rest of the team. Dana would have been there to give some guidance on the technicalities of trade. So, Director Ashpole, thank you very much. Major Hugh Blake, of course, who you've heard from, who runs the place. Not as regimented as he may have been in the Army, but quite well disciplined. And I appreciate that, and I'm happy because he actually is a retired major from the Army. I see Mrs. Kelly Dawn Hamilton here, who is the CEO of the Jamaica Special Economic Zone Authority. Good to have you, Kelly Dawn. Mr. Harold Davis, who is the acting CEO of the Jamaica Business Development cooperation. All of these agency heads, when we come together, contribute, push each other. And when she did her show recently at the AC Hotel, it was magnificent. They say, hey, all you guys now have to step up. Well, Dr. Blake is stepping up. I know Shulette is planning hers. Shulette is probably not here this morning. But in other words, iron sharpens iron. We have to make sure we get better at everything we do, every time we do it. And remember, if the engineers at Mercedes-Benz had rested, poor Lewis Hamilton would be driving a Lada. Okay. The other heads of agencies, I mentioned Jason before, and the team there from the Trade Board. Mr. Malik Pottinger, Director of Export, the Trade Board Limited, other staff members from the Trade Board, senior business executives and business owners and other stakeholders, media practitioners, the people who are streaming on the streaming services with us, and clearly very distinguished ladies and gentlemen. The time to expand Jamaica's export is not tomorrow. We've had enough tomorrows. It's today. We have to make sure that the Jamaica we see today is a much better one than we have when we reach tomorrow, because we have to be exporting a lot more. Jamaica's economic numbers tell a strong story of sound economic stewardship under the leadership of Prime Minister, the Honorable Andrew Holness, and this administration. Inflation has dropped from 7.4% in January 2024, in fact, coming from a really high number of 10.35% in 2022, down to 4.3% in November of 2024. That's amazing in a short period of time. Yes, you can show them how to clap. You can start. Yeah, man. And while I stand up here as a minister and talk about inflation coming down, let me tell you what that means. I was listening, I think on Friday evening, to Kevin O'Brien's Chang on Cliff Hughes' evening program. They were talking about inflation, among other things. And Kevin said, you know, clearly he has an extended family, said Grandma was at dinner with us, and she mentioned that 3-4 months ago, she was paying $1,000+ for a pound of tomato. Tomato is now down to $200. And that's after Berryland, 6 months from July 3rd till almost Christmas Day, we never stop having rain. Every single day we have rain, which is unusual for that time of the year. So inflation coming down is not something ministers who may have a little training in finance and economics talk about. It's something that affects your wallet and your pot. Tomatoes sometimes go into the pot. So, and it's not just tomatoes, it's other things that are coming down as well. Not everything has come down as we like it, but there you go. Jamaica's economic story numbers still a strong story. And so core inflation remains stable at below 6%. Now, that's important. The government of Jamaica says to the Bank of Jamaica, when we made the Bank of Jamaica independent, remember, everybody was freaking out that the currency is going to devalue and go to Hades. Well, not like that, no happen. Instead of the 10-15% we used to devalue the currency, and 20% if a squall was announced on the west coast of Africa, the dollar start dance down the road. Not anymore. We have made that dollar independent, the Bank of Jamaica independent, and what is important, we said you have one mandate. The Federal Reserve in the United States has two. They must look after unemployment, keep it low, and they must keep inflation low. Well, we said no. You are a Bank of Jamaica. You don't bother with unemployment. Fiscal policy and the way we run the economy must take care of that. And you know where that is, tell you in a minute. But importantly, Bank of Jamaica, your one mandate must be to keep inflation low. Well, it went up high because of, the pandemic and oil prices and supply chain up to 10.35. Now it's down to about 5.3 and was low. So well within the 4 to 6% band that inflation must be. We are running a well-run country economically. And yes, you can clap. I'll accept it. The Prime Minister is not here. I will tell the Prime Minister that you clap. So our unemployment figure is, as you know, at historic low, 3.5%. It's just amazing. Jamaican dollar is stable, and it's stable for a good reason. It doesn't stable because you get up and say we want it to be stable, or you go to your bed and dream and say it should be stable. It gets stable because we make sure we manage what we spend versus what we earn. Our net international reserve, like the unemployment figure, is at a historic high, 5.3%. Sorry, 5.3 billion US dollars. Now somebody say, net international reserve, that can you? And I have to explain that the reason you can eat at a cheaper price is because we have that net international reserve that supports the dollar. If the dollar was not supporting, the dollar would be devaluing and you'd be paying a lot more for everything, for gas, for food, for rent, for everything. And therefore, yes, may I tell you as minister, 5.3 billion US dollars of net international reserve. Some of it can yam. No, man. For my patois, my St. Elizabeth patois, you have to clap. Now, when I came back to the United States, so from living around the world, not the United States, in fact, was the Middle East, and I took over NCB, and I had an assistant, and like Cadian, well-educated, and I go around. Her name is Opal Williams. Opal Wilson, some of you might know her. And when I started to go to the country, and I sort of lapsed back into patois after I come back from 20-odd years overseas, about the third time, Opal, kind of sheepishly and shyly and kind of embarrassed, took me aside and said, please, Mr. Hill, no bother with the patois, just speak as So I think they're telling other people that these days, not just me. I move on. So, but really and truly, when people say you can't eat that, what that net international reserve does is it allows you to have a currency that does devalue more than 3 or 4%, stable, and your prices remain stable. Inflation is the worst thief and enemy of the poor. Rich people can find more money. The poor people, when the prices go up and the dollar is devalued, they are the ones who suffer most. And so it's a lie when it's told to you that the net international reserve doesn't help everybody in the country, especially the poor, and not now go on. A whole heap of things are gone. Otherwise, your prices would be much higher. I'm very happy for that, and it's good management. Business confidence has surged by 12.9%. Consumer confidence up by 3.9%. But what really excites me is the fact that business firms expect to have profits increasing by as much as 15% in 2025. That poll was done by the Jamaica Chamber of Commerce Conference Board Group in the third quarter, October to December of 2024. So even while the rain was going on, they had strong confidence. that tells you that they see that, yes, the Andrew Holness administration can manage things that destabilize our economy, like the pandemic, like the exogenous force that we have no control over, the lots of rain and the hurricane, and we come back to a place very quickly. So they're very positive. That's very good for Jamaica. So, you know, we have to make sure that we keep this going. And as we talk about development, and we talk about low unemployment and people being able to get jobs, I was so happy to hear a really gracious and elegant young woman like Terry Carell that says, I quote now, national development is sexy. So I can go around the place and say it, and nobody can call me any words, because every time I go say it's Terry Carell, I quote. So now it thinks me off on my own frolic. But she's right. We tend to believe that only if you run fast and sing well and dance good, that is sexy. What is actually sexy in a sustainable, decades-long sexy is economic development, and especially economic growth and the growth of exports. Give her a round of applause, please. I endorse that message. In 2023, Jamaica's exports totaled approximately $2.4 billion US. Now, that's the first time it has passed $2 billion. While imports stood at 6.8, our negative trade balance was again 4.4 billion. Historically, Jamaica has struggled with a negative trade balance, with 1966 being the only year since political independence that our exports surpass imports. And in 1966, we had bauxite and sugar. If not king still, was at least a prince at the time. So sugar was doing quite well still. But since we became independent, it's 1 year, in 1966, that we've had a positive trade balance. When you have that kind of history, you cannot become rich just by becoming a stable economy. You have to do some other things. While GDP per capita has improved to approximately 6.8 thousand US, from reveling around 4.9 to 5.5 thousand US for many decades. It has improved in the last year to that, but it is substantially low. If you think about this, and I was looking at the numbers yesterday, and I think I sent it to Cadian and Roxanne too, because I want to have it printed off, that whole list, the top 10 countries, and you find that Little Bermuda, 152,000 US per capita GDP. That means if you share up all the money among Bermudians, that's what they would get, 152,000. We get less than 7. Barbados get 22. Trinidad gets 24, 25. What are they doing ahead of us? We are Jamaicans, and you know I love my Barbadian friends and my Trinidadian friends, and they invest a lot of money in Jamaica. But it's time we move away from that very low per capita GDP, and the best way to do that is by export. Trade Board is on the cutting edge of what it takes to make sure we become a richer country. And I can't say it louder and better. Exporting is not just an economic strategy, it's an economic necessity, it's an imperative to improve our trade balance and secure long-term prosperity. And I like that word. I hope you don't mind. it's just a little bit ahead of 1.5. And I'm not going to get into the details of 1.5 because people are going to say, I'm up here talking other than economics, and I don't want that to happen. So let me read it again. To improve our trade balance and secure long-term prosperity, we must make exporting a national imperative. We must make exporting a national imperative. We will not get rich selling to under 3 million people that have a per capita GDP of less than $7,000 and believe we're going to get rich. We're going to get rich by making many more new products, many more new services. The Terry Carrells of the world. Services is where we're going to get rich. We're never going to be a manufacturing country like China. Thanks to Mr. Dawkins, Wisinko just spent 11.3 billion Jamaican dollars in their manufacturing facilities. Others are. But we're not going to be able to take on China or Mexico or Colombia. But we can take on the world through our brains and through technology. Many of the richest countries in the world are small countries. The U.S. is an exception, but right beside it is Singapore. They are now over 150,000 or 40-odd thousand, 140-odd thousand per capita GDP. U.S. and Singapore are up there. So we need to make sure we are exporting a lot more. And I cannot say it enough. Get it in your brain. Anybody you see doing anything, have you exported yet? Have you thought of exported? And now you can say, hey, there's a place. You go to the Export Academy on the Trade Board website. P.S. Make sure it's on our website, of course. Has to be on our website. So, and all our agencies. Kerry, where's Kerry's? Oh, put up your hand, man. I want everybody to know she's in charge of our communications at the ministry. Roxanne, that tall lady, when she stands up in the brown, runs my communications business out of my office. Both of you guys, I want it on every agency website by Friday. P.S. We're going to take out advertisements on radio. Nobody with the newspaper them for the time being. Radio, get the radio out there. Go to this website. This is going to be a university. And, you know, when you see what you can get out of this, did you see what Jason showed you? You see the bright people we have behind it? This is going to be turned in time into a university. And everybody from the Caribbean going to come here. That's what we must become. The center of everything that is good in the Caribbean. Me thank you for it, but somehow you're a little slow. So, ladies and gentlemen, the Andrew Holness administration is determined to position Jamaica as the region's logistics hub and the Caribbean's financial services center, making our nation the gateway for goods, services, and capital. Strong and much greater level of exports is what drives this vision. And let me tell you why I said even though we're not going to be a great manufacturing country, we're going to be a rich country. Because you know what? When I look at Turks and Caicos and their per capita GDP, much higher than ours, when I look at Bermuda, all them have up there is sand. Some nice see a few bushes that Jamaicans took over there to plant. May I claim everything this morning? so when you look at Dubai, when I went to Dubai the first time many years ago, our only son, Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, says, we're going to turn this into the city of the world where people absolutely want to come. In 25 years, he did it. We used to have a joke as bankers among ourselves that we go to Dubai, want to go to the central bank, you have to go down to Abu Dhabi, that's where the central bank is housed. And we drive down to Abu Dhabi on one road, and Dubai was changing so fast that by the time we come back, that road has a 30 stories skyscraper, and you have to drive around a new road to get back to your hotel. That's how fast it was changing. And the man no have no oil. You probably think that Dubai has oil. Dubai's oil ended in 1932. It developed services. And Sheikh Mohammed, make sure if you want your company registered, 1, 2, 3, 4 before they have all this computer, you go down the line, and by the time you get to the end of the line, you're registered and done. You pay for every service, which we don't like to do so much here. But if you want to get it done fast, you will pay for it. You know something, Dana? Although we laugh that we don't like to pay for it, if you make it efficient, people will pay for it. You make it efficient. So our job in here, imagine me, I'm going to call myself bureaucrat, but P.S., is that what I am? No, thank you. Okay. But if we, working in the government, don't set the pace that we're going to make sure we're efficient, the country can't change. We are the playmakers for the ground. The players come in, but we must make sure the refereeing and the playground is safe. The goal post can't move because now, Mas Danville, him big and powerful, you come and move the goalpost and can kick the ball in there quickly. No, man, the goalpost has to stay there for everybody. That's our job. And we must commit to do that job very well. And the Trade Board is doing a marvelous job with this launch this morning. It's part of what we have to do to make the country a much, much better place. We need to export a lot more. Business must enhance Jamaica's global connectivity and make Jamaica's ports, financial systems, and logistics network much more attractive to foreign investors and partners. I just passed a piece of the Jamaica International Financial Services Authority bill, which allows segregated accounts and partnerships, limited and general partnerships. You know why? Because the reason why the BVI, the British Virgin Islands, and Cayman developed, because they provided those services. We wouldn't put in the legislation to do it, so I just put it in. We're going to, right now, the Chief Parliamentary Office is now looking at the next part of the legislation. The Minister of Finance 2 weeks ago just launched the trust business because that's what rich people want. And we have one of the best legal systems. It still goes up to the Privy Council, and many investors like that. This is the place we have to bring them to come to invest, and it is financial and other services that are going to make us rich. So bright, smart people like Dr. Terry Carell, who decide that she can't make enough money in doctoring, no, she can make a lot more money in the other services. Now leave out a doctoring, maybe she doctor her baby, and go on to do other services. That will bring us, that's how we have to think. So you might be trained as a doctor, or you might be trained as an engineer. You say, how do I turn this to make sure people who want to come to the Caribbean and don't have to meet all the tough issues that you may have to meet in Delaware, come to the Caribbean? Because we have British law, we have bright people, and a judicial system that is independent. If you want to know how powerful a politician is not, let them try and touch the courts in Jamaica. Chief Justice Sykes will be down your throat before you open your mouth. So, you know, these are pluses that we have, that we know, especially a young group like this must say, our country has to change, and we're going to do it. And so, as we look at, as the Minister of Industry, Investment and Commerce, and as the Jamaica's Business Ministry, I am so happy this morning to launch the Export Academy. an essential arm of Export Jamaica. Yes, please. Dr. Blake will tell you that when I came in, and you know, I've been dealing with the trade board. I was in business before I left to study in the States and then go around the world. I used to have to deal with the trade board. You have to get a trade board license for everything at the time. Now, the trade board is so much more efficient, so we're using technology, and this is just such a great way to look at it, the Export Academy. We're using technology to make sure we're much more efficient. But what he didn't get into is that we have the Export Gateway. Export Gateway, another part, which you saw on the flash at the end there, of the trade board. Now, on that gateway, what impressed me when I went down there to see it, you can get Jason and friends, them and Carl, put up 190 countries around the world. You want to know how you trade in the British Virgin Islands, or Trinidad, or Togo, or Congo, or Uganda, the Netherlands. You go there and it tells you what is required for free. I firmly endorse the statement that export and development in Jamaica is sexy. We have to become a nation of exporters, a nation of people who are educated well, a nation of people who can run well, a nation of people who can make music that the whole world wants. A nation of people that run businesses so well that when they hear the Jamaican brand, they go look for it. And we're rebranding Jamaica at the highest level, as the Prime Minister said, working through this ministry and JAMPRO. So, ladies and gentlemen, Export Jamaica is really a great thing for us. It empowers more Jamaican businesses like yours to grow from small to medium to large organizations like GMMB did, like Grace did. Don't worry, all of them start small, they never start big. So we have to make sure we do that. You have to learn to increase profits. Exports, exports, export. Employ more Jamaicans. Make sure you train them when you employ them. And make profits and really compete globally. So Export Jamaica, as we're looking to launch that academy this morning, I want you to make sure everywhere you go and you see a young person, say, have you seen that website yet? Well, look at it. All of them must study medicine, no matter. Them smart. A whole heap of doctors in business. Not true, Dr. Kerry? So we want to make sure our bright minds are being exposed to it. Make sure you use it. All right? It offers access to vital markets, intelligence, compliance information. Don't flip over it quickly. If you're not compliant when you're going to those 190 countries, your goods go to the wharf and you can't get it in there to sell. Make sure you go to the Export Academy and the Export Gateway to learn what you must learn to make sure your products get in well and sell well. And these are tools that make your international expansion achievable. You must explore new markets, connect with potential buyers, understand customer requirements, and make sure you navigate the global opportunities very, very well. All through this, we're digitizing Jamaica and digitizing trade. You can't get anywhere these days unless you're digitized. Make sure you're encouraging your people. You know, last week we did a road show in Clarendon Park, and one of the sponsors was MasterCard, big MasterCard, international MasterCard. And what they've been working on, about 3 years ago, Prime Minister and myself met the president and CEO of MasterCard in Los Angeles at the Conference of the Americas. and following up to the point now where they're in Jamaica. They wanted to help the MSME craft people especially. Somebody go to a craft place, they see something they want to buy for themselves or take back as a gift. The lady doesn't have a payment system. They don't have enough cash. The business walks away. No longer. MasterCard has come in, putting up their payment system, so it's their technology, their safety. They give this lady, most every Jamaican house, if them don't have anything, them have 2 smartphones. I don't know if it works, but it works. So, but MasterCard said, if you don't have a smartphone, we're going to give you a smartphone. A smartphone where anybody who comes from Japan or Togo or wherever else they come from, Trinidad, and they want to buy something from the craft lady or anybody else they want across the country in all shops, you tap their card on the phone. The money goes, they're worked out with NCB. The money goes into your account at NCB. The lady doesn't have to go and sign up in a big long something about, well, she can't do anyway. She don't want to bother with that. So now she has a phone that is her payment system, complements of MasterCard, and it can also use Visa. So I want you to give MasterCard and every craft vendor a round of applause. And everything we're doing, we're digitizing Jamaica, digitizing so that we can fit in the world and move from that less than 7,000 per capita GDP to something substantially 15 and in the 20s and growing up in a relatively short period of time. So this is, the Export Academy is just wonderful. Teaches you how to package your meats and your seasoning and how to get them overseas quite quickly. The Export Academy will equip you to walk through them with these places with great knowledge and to become successful globally. We collectively must shift from if to when, from hesitation to bold action. We here must be big dreamers. We must push boundaries properly and legally. This minister not backing anybody who breaks the rules. I've lived all my professional life in a regulated industry called banking. You have to follow rule upon rule upon rule. But if you do it right and you run the business well, you make a lot of money. Ask the shareholders who were shareholders when I ran NCB, took the stock price from 6.51 to 31.7 in 19 months and 2 balance sheets. Everybody got rich. Some of those people had never had dividends for 40 years. So, to every entrepreneur, every business leader, every Jamaican ready to reach for global success, this is your moment. The Export Academy is your free partner, your free bridge to new markets, your path to global achievement. The Sandra Honus administration is committed to seeing Jamaican businesses increase their profitability. This minister believes in profit and has no apology about it. Make good, clean profits, and we get more taxes to build more hospitals and better roads and bring down our debt. Everybody benefits. Profits are good. So, we increase our profitability, productivity. If you're not increasing your productivity, using what you had yesterday to make more tomorrow, that's basically how it is. We're not going to get rich. We're not going to get rich borrowing money or even getting equity. We're going to get rich because we increase our productivity. And that has to start in the government area. Because government people rightly are risk averse. They have only the job and their reputation. But if we only do that, we've been doing that for 62 years, and we haven't become rich out of it. So we have to make sure that we put in systems that give government bureaucrats a measure of protection if they do the right things. But they're going to have to be less risk averse and more active in changing positively what we do in government, because government is the biggest player in the economy. We hope that that doesn't always remain that way, but right now it is. We have to make sure government is a lot more efficient. And private sector, you have to be more efficient, and you have to increase your productivity. Workers, only when your productivity goes up can businesses become more profitable to pay you more salary. It is a virtual circle. I mean, now make no excuse about it. If you're not productive, you can't expect good increases. When you're productive, you don't even, well, I won't say who you won't need, but you can sit down and negotiate with your bosses and get your increases. Before I get into any trouble, I am going to conclude. This Andrew Holness administration, of which I'm very, very proud, clearly, to be a member, has presented 9 consecutive no new taxes budgets. 9 consecutive no new budget, no new taxes budget. And I think there's a 10th on the way, but I am not a prophet. So if it not happen, nobody come run up in my face and blame me. Okay? But I am expectant. Okay? So we could have a 10th year of no new taxes. Now, I don't care how young you are. You can remember when any time budget time came, all your parents would worry about is how much taxes we're going to pay. What them going to tax this time? Them tax cigarette the last time, they're going to tax it again. Rum, they're going to tax. What them going to tax this time? For 9 consecutive years, the Andrew Holness administration has been careful. I don't care what you think about us. That is a major achievement. I hope you think well about us. So, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I invite all entrepreneurs, business owners, all hardworking Jamaicans here today to join this very noble national effort to cement our political independence with robust and sustained economic independence driven by solid, robust exports. Unless you have economic independence, political independence won't last long. We have to make sure we get better at it. And you know what? The Canadians are our friends, but they won't do it for us. They can't. The Americans are our biggest trading partners. They can't and won't do it for us. Nor the British, nor our good friends in Trinidad, nor the Chinese. It's we Jamaicans, bright Jamaicans like this. Everywhere I go, you're going to hear that message. Because if we don't do it, nobody else is going to do it. We have to make sure we have the economic independence and strength through export and productivity to bolster our political independence. Ladies and gentlemen, the Trade Board is doing their part this morning in launching this fabulous, outstandingly good, digitized, online Export Academy. God bless them and God bless you. Thank you very much.
Oh, I think we can do a much better job than that for our keynote speaker this morning, Senator the Honorable Auburn Hill. Always so passionate about Jamaica, our beloved land of wood and water. And as our minister quoted me, I also want to say something, or I want to quote something that he said, that there is no reason why Jamaica shouldn't be or won't be the center of everything good in the Caribbean. He spoke to us about iron sharpening iron, and that basically we wouldn't be where we are today if we were not obsessed about refining, reassessing, and reiterating what has already been done. So now that we've spoken about the launch, I would like to re-invite the minister to the stage. I'd like to invite the Permanent Secretary, Mrs. Sansia Bennett-Templar, and the Trade Administrator, CEO, Dr. Hugh Blake, and of course, the Chairman of the Trade Board, the Honorable Danville Walker, to kindly unveil. And this is going to be a symbolic gesture of innovation and progress right on the stage. And because we spoke so much about digitization and digital and technology, this is going to be done very differently. We're accustomed to having the ribbon and the rope and a big scissors. Trade board is a little bit, that's so yesteryear, shall we? We're doing this digitally. And I'm going to need your assistance to give me the countdown to the unveiling, the official unveiling of Export Academy. Are we ready? Nine, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Can I tell you, I've never seen this done before, ever. We're always accustomed to it being physical, but again, thinking outside the box, doing things differently, but it does not take away from the significance of this milestone. And we thank you so very much, and we congratulate you once more. Let's get the photo up. Is there anyone else you'd like to invite, Dr. Blake? Let's get Jason, Carl. And of course, we'll be checking by Friday to see if Export Academy is on all of the agency websites. No pressure, no pressure. Watch me go refreshing Google every second now. So we're inviting the team members. Can we hear another round of applause? The gentleman in the blue, he stood up earlier. He's right out of the University of the West Indies. He was described as astonishing brilliance. And when Dr. Blake told the minister to scoop him up, he said, "Talk to the PS." Let's get Malika in there as well. And as I said earlier, we broke away from protocol by allowing our keynote to speak earlier before our remarks. But as soon as we complete this particular part, we will have entertainment and then we will have our remarks. Another round of applause. Congratulations, Jamaica. Land we love. And of course, if the minister has to run out, it's because of his very hectic schedule. At this time, however, we have some amazing entertainers. They are the lightning drummers out of Arden Preparatory School. Could we kindly make them welcome as they entertain us before we go into our remarks? Let's hear it one more time for the lightning drummers, Arden Preparatory School. Dressed in their colors. And we just want to get a mic. Hold on 1 second to my lightning drummers. We just want to get a mic so that we can absolutely hear the brilliance that you're going to deliver. Heads down, them serious boy. It's such a flex to be a Jamaican. Oh. And you can start whenever you're ready. for the Lightning Drummers out of Arden Preparatory School. Thank you so much. Thank you so very much. What are the ages?
9 to 10.
8 to 11. Ladies and gentlemen, the present, the future, the minister, and of course, we acknowledge the teachers. We acknowledge the coaches who absolutely are a part of, wow. So I know the minister said that, you know, we're aiming for Jamaica that will be the center of everything good in the Caribbean. May I just say that we are already? Good. Can I just go there? I think so. I mean, most of them, the drums were bigger than they were. And the audio engineer was worried about, you know, I'm going to get a mic for them so that we could hear them. I don't think they actually required it. Can you imagine if we just continue to feed into that confidence? Now, the only people I'm worried about are the persons who have to bring brief remarks after that presentation. It's a tough job, but 3 people have to do it, amen? Now, we would have had these remarks earlier on, and these will be very brief, but these are from stakeholders, and because of the hectic itinerary of our minister, we allowed him to go earlier. And so we would like to just hear from our partners, our collaborators, our contributors. And so I welcome, no pressure, Mrs. Kelly Dawn Hamilton, CEO, Jamaica Special Economic Zone Authority. Please make her welcome.
Dr. Terry Carell Johnson, our Master of Ceremonies for this morning, Senator the Honorable Arvin Hill, our Minister of Industry, Investment and Commerce, our Permanent Secretary, Mrs. Sansia Bennett-Templar, CTD, Latoya Richards-Franklin, Ambassador Alicock, Chairman, Honorable Danville Walker, Major Hugh Blake, congratulations, sir, Deputy Director Dania Ashpole, ladies and gentlemen, specially invited guests, good morning. My name is Kelly Dawn Hamilton, and I had a whole speech prepared, PS, and it spoke about strategic and leveraging and all of that, but I'm going to put it aside. I'm going to put it aside because I think that the Lightning Drummers represent what it is that we need to do as a country, as a government, as a people to move ourselves forward. Ladies and gentlemen, with every hit of the drum, those youngsters were in tandem. We are here this morning, ladies and gentlemen, because we need to be in tandem. You will see in this room various heads of agencies, and my colleague, head of agency, Farah, I'm going to call your name, said to me this morning that we are here because we are here to learn from each other. We're not trying to reinvent the wheel. Major Blake, a big congratulations to you on helping us to not reinvent the wheel. Ladies and gentlemen, we spoke about this Export Academy, and we spoke about it in technical terms. We saw what it could do, and we spoke about it in academic terms. But ladies and gentlemen, very simply put, this is what we need to move us forward. Trade Board heard the cry, Trade Board saw the problem, and Trade Board solved it. I see up here the words assess, educate, elevate. And 3 other words came to mind as I heard the presentations this morning, and they were evolution, proactive, and necessary, because that is what this platform is. Ladies and gentlemen, I will not be much longer. I would just like to congratulate you again, Hugh, because this is momentous. When Hugh said to me and my colleagues from JAMPRO as well that we should come over, we should look at this platform, I just kept sitting there going, my gosh, what a game changer this will be. We have been talking about exports, ladies and gentlemen, and very simply put, this answers the question, but I don't know where to start. Everybody can go on and you will be assessed in terms of your knowledge gap. What a powerful tool that is. That means that none of us in this room, whether we work for government, private sector, wherever, have an excuse. We should all be exporting. To the Export Academy, congratulations again. This will change the game. To my other heads of agencies, Iron Sharp, Iron Hugh come good, we need to come better. Thank you very much.
Now that is how you deliver your remarks after the lightning drummers. That was like a lightning remark, can I tell you? Now I just want to get that video, and then when I host other events, I'm going to be like, all right, so this is how your remarks need to look. Right there, right there. Thank you so very much for reminding us that collaboration is so much better than competition. That we're not competing with each other, but we all have the same shared goal, shared vision, so we must implement together. And thank you for pointing out that besides this is necessary. This is proactive. This is no longer saying and complaining, but saying, let us do, let us solve. That was Mrs. Kelly Dawn Hamilton, CEO of GESESA. Thank you so very much. So we move from GESESA and we now move to JBDC, Chief Executive Officer, Acting, Mr. Harold Davis. Please make him welcome.
Why I feel good this morning is a shame. Such a good morning to be here. Hugh and team, amazing stuff. PS, CTD, Chairman Walker, who, by the way, he and I share the same great school that only few get the opportunity to claim. No, not Kingston College. No, I speak of an institution, not the one that you're committed to, but an institution nonetheless called Excelsior High School. We are both proud alumni of a wonderful institution. So, like Kelly, may I tell my little sister, by the way, right? We have to change up things. I mean, big up to the drummers, boy, may I tell you. Everybody who knows me knows that creative industries are dear and close and dear and to my heart. And when I see this, it warms my heart to know that we can export everything creative out of Jamaica. Believe me, game changer. Okay, so many entrepreneurs dream of expanding their business beyond the borders of Jamaica. But many are faced with a maze of regulations and not knowing where to start, and the fear of the unknown makes the idea of exporting overwhelming. This, ladies and gentlemen, changed that perspective forever. We have heard the term, go big or go home. That's what I'm saying? Go big or go home. So we going big all the time. At JBDC, we are about providing assistance to our businesses to scale up so that they can meet international standards and they can export comfortably and sustainably. However, we recognize that it's not always a simple decision. Entrepreneurs must contend with a number of hurdles along the way. This fragmentation has long been a barrier, and the EXPORTAcademy has just removed that barrier. I want to point out something, though. One of the most exciting aspects of this initiative is that it represents public sector innovation in action. Too often there's a narrative around the fact that, the saying that innovation is for the private sector and public sector should just enable and facilitate, but nothing no go so. Not no go so. If we are, in fact, to create the public value that we ought to be creating as the public sector, we have to embrace innovation as an imperative. It is an imperative. And this, my friend Hugh, is one of the key things about this particular initiative. It removes that myth completely, and it emphasizes that the public sector needs to innovate. Innovate cleverly, smartly, and timely to make sure that we provide the necessary value accordingly. Now at JBDC, our core mandate is to develop internationally viable businesses. As I said before, we exist to help businesses realize their full potential. And I want to point out some names that I want you to remember this morning. And there are 15 brands, ladies and gentlemen, on display at your tables. Unfortunately, as Terry Carrell suggested, they're not to go home with you. But there are 5 aromatherapy brands, 8 food brands, 2 home category brands. And these items are in our e-commerce stores. So they are, in fact, in the export market, having gone through rigorous assessment, rigorous preparation, rigorous, well, just a hard rigor of JVDC support. I want to recognize Janine and Viv from the marketing department. Irie Rock, Self-Care, EGC Farms, Raga Nuts, Tropic 365, Sammy's, Ashibre, Moy Hall Estate, Portland Authentic, Smart Choice, Liberton, Jablum, Kadubra, the Silver Halls Designs. Remember those names, because these are the brands that this product is about. This is ultimately what this product is about, to make sure that these and other brands get into the export market seamlessly and without fear. So my friends, the launch of the Export Academy is a milestone in Jamaica's journey towards creating a more export-ready private sector. It is testimony to the importance of innovation, collaboration, and commitment. To our entrepreneurs, I encourage you, my friends, use this tool. Engage with the resources provided. Make exporting not just a dream, but a reality. And remember, you are not alone. Is it Michael Jackson who sang about you are not alone? Trade Board, JBDC, the other agencies within the ministry. I saw Shelley just now, Shelley Leon, Company's Office, and I know John Pro and the rest of heads of agency who are here in the room are with you. We're there with you. That's why we are here. So finally, congratulations to Trade Board, on this innovation. You may have heard me say before that organizations don't innovate. People do. Which means that I want to commend your folk within Trade Board, Hugh, yourself and the team. Entrepreneurs, are you there? Yes, right there. Thank you.
And I will dare add that great stewardship, and great leadership. Go big or go home, Sir Harold said. And something that he said that was very important, public sector innovation in action. Typically, you are right. Innovation usually takes place in the private sector, and then they say public sector just endorses and just kind of partners. It's nice to see it coming from the public space. Our very final stakeholder remark comes from Mr. Stephen Dawkins, Group Export Manager with Cinco. Please make him welcome.
Good afternoon, everyone. I know it's morning. I was just playing with you guys. Protocol observed, right? But what I want to do is recognize the persons like us in the room that are the real exporters. Charles Barrett, Jamaican Teas, Christine Gibson, Jerry and Neville, Ronnie Badu, Spur Tree, right? These are the people who actually do the exporting. And thank you, Trade Board, for doing the background work for us. And one of the reasons why I say thank you is that I'm one of probably their worst customers, because we don't give them the information because we believe that they are stealing our formulas. but we recognize that they are very, very, very important, and we still try as much as possible to give them our secrets. Anyway, what I want to talk about, right? And I try to be very brief. I was called not as JMEA because most of the time I speak on behalf of the JMEA, but now it's the WISINCO, and as such, the private sector group. And exporting people is hard. And I'm going to tell you what happened December, just recently, just in the Trump regime. We've been exporting cran water for many, many years, one of our biggest export item. And we haven't exported it since December. People in New York, Florida, Cayman, everywhere crying out, where's the cran water? The reason why is because there's a little thing on the label that some bright FDA person pick it up and say, we should word it differently. We couldn't find out where to get the information. We call JAMPRO, we call around, do everything, a lot of investigations, until we finally found the answer through a number of help. I think we also call Trade Board. And what it says is that an academy like this is absolutely necessary. We should be able to go on a platform that says, if you want this information, this is where it's at. This is exactly where it's at. So hopefully we'll have cran water being exported by March. Another thing, we exported in December again, we exported 30 containers of bigger sodas into the UK. Of course, we export up to 50 containers per month in the UK. The customer called us, Grace Kennedy. Grace Kennedy is our partner in the UK and eventually now Canada. They call us and say, listen, we can't deliver these goods to our customers because the pallets are contaminated, right? What I'm saying to you guys, export is not the easiest thing in the world. What we have to do with these pallets now is offload all of them, fumigate all the warehouses that the pallets were in, and pay for new pallets, pay for fumigation, pay for all of these. Gentle people, I could go on and on and on and on, but we need the partners, Trade Board, and so on, to assist us as best as possible. And I'd leave by saying, we have launched this, we must ensure that everybody knows about it. All exporters, the private sector bodies, everybody is fully aware. And that's marketing. Thank you all. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so very much, Sir Dawkins, and I absolutely loved the examples that he gave, because sometimes we speak and we have launches and it's great, but sometimes it can still be very abstract. And so what he was really able to do is to let us know that even though the academy exists, just be prepared to put in the work. Be prepared to make partners and collaborators, because you'll realize you can't do this by yourself. Sometimes you still have to actually partner with your competitors as well. And you'll be surprised to know that in the export space, even though there are competitors on the shelves, they help each other along the way, even from manufacturing to exportation. So thank you very much for giving us real-life examples that makes us know that even though you have access to the information, it's not going to be a walk in the park. You have to now be prepared to deal with whatever that comes. Thank you to the stakeholders. Thank you to those remarks. And so this now makes way for our closing remarks, which will be done by Board Chairman of the Trade Board Limited, the Honorable Danville Walker. Please make him welcome.
Permanent Secretary, Sunset Templar, Ambassador, all other protocols observed. You guys can hear me? All right. Supposed to just give you some closing remarks, but you guys have so charged me up. And I feel I have to say a little more than just bye-bye, you know, and to go home. You know, the thing is that I grew up in a business family. You probably, some of you have heard this already. My parents were business people. My grandparents were business people. So instinctively, I tend to think about business. And growing up in Jamaica through the 70s, Excelsior and otherwise, we've been hearing about export a lot. I've said this. I remember once it was export or die under a different type of administration, because back then it really appeared as if we were going to die if we don't export. You know what I found in the public sector many times, and the good doctor mentioned it about last speaker, giving some specifics. And you need to try and give people a roadmap. We talk about exports, and it is abstract to many people. What are you going to export? What am I going to export? And you came up and pointed out these things. And I was really going to take mine home. I didn't know that. I mean, I planned to take home this one, whatever else on that table that I don't see nobody take up. I leave with things. Right? I don't just, you know, go on like my yard full. I leave with things. So, you better come take up the things I'm off the table quick. But you know, it's I tell you something about exports. You can export just about everything, you know. You can. I have a brethren of mine, I call him name Wayne Noel. And I'm always on my case. Lord Danville, plant some sorrel, man. I can't get no sorrel, you know. Sorrel. Sorrel is something that even me can plant. I used to say when I was in high school, and then give it like a peas you put in a cup, mine will never grow. But even I can grow sorrel, right? Sorrel grow easily. If you have an acre, and I know what I'm saying to me, I will bring the people to pick it, right? So don't sit there thinking, what am I going to export? One of his biggest exports is breadfruit. You're telling me you can't find breadfruit? Here's the thing. Many of us don't think about the next 5 years and 7 years. You know what I tell most students I used to have? The next 5 years going to go by, whether you're sitting on your ass or you busting your ass. You can't pick, where you are now is where you are. You get to decide where you're going to be 5 years from now. So you can plant a tree, plant a number of trees, because my friend tell me he can't find breadfruit to satisfy New York market alone. Yeah, he's in this thing a long time. He's a child of people who used to export. But just about anybody can export, you know. You don't need to be, with a great respect, Spurtree. You don't need to be Grace Kennedy. You don't need to be with Cinco. You can have a cottage industry. You can go on Amazon today, and that's what the platform you're talking about, similar, and buy Chippies banana chips. Chippies, you know, I couldn't believe it. I am not a big banana chip person, but I was impressed that you can go on Amazon and find Chippies. It's not just about how, but what. And if we get our young people from a very early age to start thinking about exporting, not just to look for a job. Now, I'm going to tell you, we don't give our young people the respect they deserve. I mean, these drummers are awesome. I need to jump out of my chair at the first bang, all right? But I must say, I come here and I meet Kelly Don, and he's a young CEO full of so much vibrancy that I feel personally know that, you know, the future for Jamaica is good. It's in safe hands. And that's what we want, right? But the young man from the IT, that's you, what's your name? Joel? Joel. When I was the electoral officer in Jamaica, you know, too many years ago, the country bought a system. I saw Andre here. Is Andre? Yes, he's one, right? From Customs. Bought a system from a company called TRW. I don't even know what it stands for. But it cost $14.5 million to register electors. Just think how simple this system is. $14.5 million US to register people. Roll fingerprints, take pictures, put them together and create a voters list. Okay? 1997, I got the electoral office in May. And we were trying to have an election by the end of that year, 1997. It was due by the end of the year. And when I got there in May, I don't think we had 100,000 people processed on that voters list. All it is a database with names, address, gender, maybe 8 or 9 columns across. You attach a photograph and you attach fingerprints that you scan, JPEG files, right? And it is in complete chaos. Complete chaos. One of the secrets of the 2002 election was that the system we use and the system they use till today was written by young men like you. That TRW system in some box in the electoral office till today. Because if I was to depend on that, you wouldn't know me as the guy who reformed the electoral system. You'd know me as the guy who failed. So what I did was get young men like you and young ladies like you and create a team that recoded that entire software using even the algorithms from Cogent systems that developed the fingerprint cross-matching and put that together. And what I don't understand is why we don't have more examples of us utilizing our young people who live here and go do the same thing overseas. So the CEOs that are here, and you go out and become the ambassadors. Wherever you have an opportunity to use Jamaican talent, we bless the drummers, but we can do a lot more than drumming. What you saw here, as Terry says, is this cohesion, this working together. If we do it, you're amazed where you reach. The same thing with exports. Teaching people to export, refining the systems, Andre, that exports become easier than imports, right? And it actually is, by the way, right? I'm not, everybody watching to see what you bring in. Nobody care what you send out. Right? They have a duty implication. So, right, sir? So customs don't worry about that, Say you're good. When you go in there, you're not no line. I'm telling you, right? 90% of all the work them do is imports. Say you're good. I was there. So, but we need our children to begin to think that it don't have to be sugarcane and banana. Those days gone, We don't have to, that is not all that we can export. We can export ornamental fish. Ornamental fish? Like guppy, angelfish. I had friends who did it when I was in high school. In high school. So we just need to begin to think. The ornamental fish capital of the world is Tampa. That's an hour and a half away from Jamaica. We can use these assets and leverage them and become a fabulously wealthy country. The minister talk about this place with a high per capita income. Turks and Caicos have about 10,000 people. We have 3 million. We need to find a way to have them have that per capita income. And then all boats starts to rise. So, in closing, I want to encourage us to train our people. We have to train them. Why this young man is that good? Somebody invested in his training. Someone interested in his training. P.S. I want you to take a message from me into the public sector. We can't have small business people waiting 3 and 4 months to be paid. It don't work. We can't ask small business people to wait 2 and 3, 4 months. I was in a small business. I heard a lady, a UA graduate. I never got a UA. I'm not a UA guy. I went to Excelsior. I went to school overseas. To hear a UA graduate tell her secretary, no, tell them I don't wish to register as a business to do business with UA because UA take too long to pay. I never got UA and I shame. And I'm going to write Professor Gordon Shirley about it. Because we must treat our own better than that. We must treat our own better than that. It makes no sense to be talking about developing business in Jamaica. And the best advice I could give people one time when I was working in the government was, boy, don't you know, you make sure you know what you're doing. Because you can work for government and you can drive into bankruptcy because you can't get paid. You will get paid, but will you still be alive? Will you still be in business? We have to fix that. We have to fix that. It don't matter what you say you're doing. If you're trying to encourage small business people and you're starving them out, they're not going to be able to grow. They can't move to the next level. You want them to think about export, and they can't even survive now. All right? So we have to fix that. So please, PS, in your deliberations, please get that out there. All right? Training, we talked about training already. Buy Jamaican. Buy Jamaican. And not just buy Jamaican. All right? Other people buy their countries. They're not saying you must boycott anybody. But when I walk and look to buy pepper sauce, I looking for one of 3 brands probably. Walker's Wood, your brand, or Grace, or somebody. It have to be Jamaican for me. All right? And I'm a child of the 70s, you know, and I born long before that. But I consider those days were burned into me as a business person. Hell, I survived the 70s. All right? But if we need to buy Jamaican, support our own industries, pay them earlier, train our young people, and prosperity will fall like apples from a tree. Thank you very much. Thank you for coming.
I would just like to thank you all for attending the TED Talk by Sir Walker. One of the best closing remarks I've actually ever heard, and I've done too many of these events to even count, but definitely one of the best, simply because it didn't seek to necessarily give us an overview, but to leave us with a charge. And that charge is that vision is okay, but you have to have the gumption to do, right? Secondly, for those of us who are in leadership, because he spoke about our young leaders, we know they exist. A lot of the times they don't get opportunity because of ego, because of upper management thinking that they are threats. And so they are gatekeepers. And there are people who believe that they must stay there for 80, 90 years, even though they know that proteges are there. If we eliminate that kind of culture in companies, we have more leaders who are young. And that is something that was addressed there. And certainly, as he said it eloquently, you know, you have to think about the next 5, 10 years. You can't just think about today. And as many of us can sit down and complain about a lot of things, but it's going to come down between 2 people. Those of us who sit on our derrieres and those of us who boss our derrieres. So we heard that closing remark, and now I'm going to leave it to deliver the vote of thanks, Miss Malika Pottinger, who has been our point of contact, our event planner. She's put this all together, Director, Export, the Trade Board Limited, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Good morning, everyone. Man, it is great to see everybody turning out so bright and so happy, right? So I'll be delivering the vote of thanks today. And I must say, as we bring this momentous occasion to a close, I stand before you filled with gratitude, I'm filled with joy, and I look forward to Jamaican exporters excelling. Today is more than just a launch of EXPORTAcademy. It is a bold step towards equipping our Jamaican exporters with the tools, the resources, and the knowledge they require to confidently navigate the export landscape. So I'll be getting into the acknowledgements now, and in Minister's absence, I want to first and foremost acknowledge him being here. Well, he was here and had to leave. We thank Minister for delivering the keynote speak. speech, and of course we can attest that our minister is a business minister. He is driving Jamaica's economy, he is strengthening our economy, and I can say that the Trade Board Limited so far is supporting the minister in his mission to bridge that trade deficit that Jamaica has. So I want us to just bring a round of applause to the Export Academy. We're one step closer to resolving an issue that Jamaica has, and that is bridging our trade deficit gap. Secondly, to our PS, Permanent Secretary, Mrs. Santia Bennett, thank you so much for being here, PS, and thank you so much for being a part of the digital ribbon cutting ceremony. Your attendance shows your commitment that underscores digital solutions to bridging export issues in Jamaica. To our board chairman, the Honorable Danville Walker, thank you so much, Chairman, for giving the closing statements. It was something that resonated deeply with us, and I'm pretty sure everybody in this room feels pumped up and are ready to really onboard on that boat where everybody will be trying to export something, right? Me, you, we don't have to only help the businesses, even though we are in the public sector. This platform is also for us, and the more we outfare ourselves with this platform is the more that we can support our businesses to grow and to leverage from the Export Academy. To our board members that are here, Deputy Chair, thank you so much for being here. Your support is unwavering, it's remarkable, and we thank you for your support for this initiative. And to our very own Trade Administrator / CEO, Dr. Hugh Blake, we extend our deepest gratitude for this platform. The conceptualization of Export Academy is a testament to your forward-thinking leadership, and we appreciate being a part of this journey, the execution of Export Academy. Right? To our guest speaker, Mrs. Kelly Dawn Hamilton, Mr. Harold Davis, Mr. Stephen Dawkins, thank you so much for being here today and being a part of our launch. Having experienced the Export Academy firsthand, your endorsement to this platform adds great weight to its credibility. Your insights have illuminated the vast opportunities ahead for Jamaican businesses, and your support and belief in exporters strengthen our collective mission. To our head of entities and other representatives from our MDAs, I take this time to acknowledge you and to thank you for being present here today for the growth and advancement of Jamaica's export sector. Your engagement and your commitment are instrumental in driving this initiative forward. Not to mention special recognition to our exporters, our business leaders, MSMEs, SMEs. Thank you. Your participation, your enthusiasm, your talents, your skills are what we are committed to. This is why this initiative was created, specifically for you, to support you, to assist you, to lead you to enter that export landscape confidently. And to our host, of course, Dr. Terry Carell Johnson, your dynamic energy, your eloquence, and your ability to seamlessly guide us through today's proceedings have been nothing short of remarkable. Your presence elevates this event, and we thank you for thank you for being such an engaging and charismatic host. Yes. And finally, biggest of thanks to the Trade Board family. I am very much new to the Trade Board. I started in December, and let me tell you that the support has been remarkable. From conceptualization to the execution of this event, our P and PR department, Ms. Roshane Reed, Ms. Rochelle White, have been nothing but supportive. The export department have been nothing but exportive, and I really appreciate the collaborative efforts that made today's event very successful. And in closing, I encourage everyone here and those joining us online to seize this opportunity, sign up, engage, and maximize all that Export Academy has to offer. Because real progress happens when knowledge meets execution. Thank you.
Congratulations, job well done starting in December, planning this event for February, talk about baptism by fire. Job well done to you and your team, and you have managed everything, the changes, the updates, so gracefully. It has been a pleasure working with you. So before you run out, don't forget, we have our kiosk. Go plug in your TRN, get busy, get access, and please, when you leave here, all of us know somebody. We have a cousin who is a cousin of somebody who knows somebody who is in a little business, doing a little side hustle, tell them, WhatsApp them, show them where the access is. For those of you watching online, thank you so very much for sticking and staying with us. You could have been anywhere, but you chose to spend your time with us. Journeying mercies and all the best for 2025. It has been a pleasure serving you, and I think we only went over by 23 minutes. So be good. Take care.